The sleepy town of Hollowbrook, nestled in the heart of New England, had always been known for its quiet charm. Surrounded by dense woods, the townsfolk thrived on their traditions and superstitions. Legend had it that every harvest moon, the Headless Horseman would ride again, seeking revenge for an ancient betrayal that cursed the town for eternity. As the leaves began to turn shades of crimson and gold, a palpable tension gripped Hollowbrook. The harvest moon loomed on the horizon, casting an eerie glow that painted the landscape in shades of silver. Whispers of the horseman's return echoed through the narrow streets, sending shivers down the spines of the townspeople. At the heart of the legend was the tale of Ichabod Crane, a schoolteacher who had met a grisly end at the hands of the Headless Horseman. Some claimed Ichabod had stolen a forbidden relic from the horseman's grave, unleashing a curse that condemned the town to a nightmarish fate every harvest moon. The townspeople went about their daily lives with a sense of trepidation, their eyes constantly scanning the shadows for the spectral rider. Children were warned not to venture into the woods after sundown, and the townsfolk avoided the graveyard where the horseman was said to rise. As the fateful night approached, a young journalist named Emily Parker arrived in Hollowbrook. Intrigued by the town's dark history, she sought to unravel the mysteries behind the Headless Horseman. Armed with her camera and a determination to uncover the truth, Emily delved into the heart of the legend. Her investigation led her to the town's historian, an elderly man named Mr. Whitman, who had spent decades collecting stories passed down through generations. Mr. Whitman hesitated before agreeing to share the forbidden tale that had haunted Hollowbrook for centuries. Legend had it that the Headless Horseman was once a respected soldier named Elias Blackwell during the Revolutionary War. He had fallen in love with the beautiful daughter of the town's founder, a woman named Abigail Holloway. However, Abigail's heart belonged to another, Ichabod Crane. Consumed by jealousy and rage, Elias confronted Ichabod in a duel that ended tragically. Elias lost his head, and Ichabod disappeared without a trace. Abigail, grief-stricken and guilt-ridden, took her own life, cursing the town and condemning it to an eternity of torment. As Emily delved deeper into the story, she uncovered a hidden chamber beneath the town's dilapidated church. In it, she found an ancient relic, a weathered journal that once belonged to Ichabod Crane. The journal spoke of forbidden rituals and a desperate attempt to cheat death. As she read Ichabod's words, the air in the chamber grew thick with an otherworldly presence. Suddenly, the temperature dropped, and the flickering candle flames cast eerie shadows on the walls. Emily felt a chill down her spine as the ghostly figure of the Headless Horseman materialized before her. The horseman's hollow eyes bore into Emily's soul, and a spectral voice echoed in her mind, "You have uncovered the truth, outsider. The curse persists because the story remains untold. Only by revealing the depths of our betrayal can the town be freed." With those words, the ghostly apparition dissipated, leaving Emily shaken but determined. Armed with the knowledge from Ichabod's journal, she embarked on a quest to uncover the buried secrets of Hollowbrook and break the curse that bound the town. As Emily dug deeper into the past, she discovered a hidden tunnel leading to an underground chamber where the forbidden duel had taken place. The walls were adorned with ancient symbols and arcane writings, revealing the dark rituals that had bound the Headless Horseman to the town. As the harvest moon loomed overhead, Emily gathered the townspeople in the graveyard, where the curse had originated. With the relic in hand, she began to recount the tragic tale, weaving together the threads of betrayal, love, and revenge that had bound the horseman to the town. As Emily spoke the final words, a spectral wind swept through the graveyard, carrying away the curse that had plagued Hollowbrook for centuries. The moon's silvery glow dimmed, and the ghostly figure of the Headless Horseman stood before the crowd, his eyes filled with gratitude. In a burst of ethereal light, the horseman ascended, disappearing into the night. The townspeople, once gripped by fear, now felt a newfound sense of liberation. The curse had been broken, and the Headless Horseman's restless spirit could finally find peace. As the first light of dawn touched the horizon, Emily stood in the quiet graveyard, watching as the townspeople celebrated their newfound freedom. The legend of the Headless Horseman had come to an end, and Hollowbrook could finally lay its haunted past to rest. Little did Emily know that, in breaking the curse, she had become a part of Hollowbrook's history. The townspeople, grateful for her courage, erected a monument in her honor. The tale of the fearless journalist who had unraveled the mysteries of the Harvest Moon curse would be passed down through generations, ensuring that the town never forgot the darkness it had overcome. Years passed since Emily Parker had broken the curse that had haunted the town of Hollowbrook. The once timid town had blossomed into a vibrant community, its haunted past fading into distant memory. However, legends have a way of lingering, and Hollowbrook was no exception. Emily had become a local hero, her name whispered with gratitude whenever the harvest moon approached. The townspeople regarded her as a savior, but Emily herself had moved on, pursuing new stories and adventures beyond the quiet streets of Hollowbrook. As the harvest moon returned once more, casting its silvery glow over the town, a sense of unease settled upon Hollowbrook. Whispers echoed through the streets, and shadows danced along the walls. The air felt charged with a familiar tension, and the townspeople couldn't shake the feeling that something was amiss. One evening, as the first hints of twilight painted the sky, Emily received a mysterious letter at her apartment in the city. The sender's name was anonymous, but the words spoke of a lingering darkness threatening to engulf Hollowbrook once again. Intrigued and driven by a sense of responsibility, Emily returned to the town that had once been the epicenter of her most haunting investigation. Upon her arrival, Emily sensed a subtle shift in the atmosphere. The once jubilant town square seemed hushed, and the laughter that used to fill the air had been replaced by nervous glances and guarded conversations. She decided to seek out Mr. Whitman, the town historian, hoping he could shed light on the mysterious letter. Mr. Whitman, now even older and friendlier, welcomed Emily into his cluttered study. His eyes, however, held a glint of worry. As Emily questioned him about the recent unease in Hollowbrook, the old man hesitated before revealing a dark secret. The curse may have been broken, but some scars run deeper than others, Mr. Whitman said, his voice quivering with a mixture of fear and regret. The horseman's spirit, while freed from the town's curse, lingers in the shadows, restless and vengeful. The darkness you vanquished was merely a fragment of a much larger, malevolent force. Emily's brow furrowed as she listened, realizing that her previous encounter with the Headless Horseman might not have been the end of the town's supernatural troubles. Determined to uncover the truth, she delved into the town's history once again, searching for clues that might unveil the nature of this lingering darkness. As she combed through dusty archives and deciphered cryptic texts, Emily discovered an ancient prophecy that foretold the return of a malevolent force during a harvest moon, seeking to reclaim what had been taken from it. The prophecy spoke of a balance that needed to be maintained, and if disrupted, the consequences could be catastrophic. As the harvest moon reached its zenith, Emily gathered a group of townspeople in the same graveyard where the curse had been broken years ago. She shared her findings and the anonymous letter, urging the community to stand together against the looming threat. Just as Emily finished speaking, the temperature dropped, and a bone-chilling wind swept through the graveyard. The ethereal figure of the Headless Horseman materialized, but this time, his spectral form was accompanied by a shadowy force, twisting and contorting like a malevolent storm. The townspeople gasped in horror as the shadowy force reached out, trying to reclaim the horseman's essence. Emily, feeling the weight of responsibility, stepped forward, holding the relic she had discovered during her first investigation. The relic glowed with an otherworldly light, pushing back against the encroaching darkness. Emily began to recite the ancient incantations she had uncovered, weaving a protective barrier around the horseman's spirit. The struggle between light and shadow intensified, and the very air seemed to crackle with energy. As Emily continued her incantation, memories of the past flashed before her eyes, the first encounter with the horseman, the hidden chamber beneath the church, and the moment she had broken the curse. Drawing strength from those memories, she channeled her determination into the protective barrier. The townspeople, inspired by Emily's courage, joined in the incantation, their voices blending with hers. The harmony of their collective energy created a powerful wave of light that pushed back the encroaching darkness. The shadowy force writhed and recoiled, unable to penetrate the united front of the townspeople. In a final burst of energy, the relic in Emily's hand unleashed a blinding light, forcing the shadowy force to retreat. The Headless Horseman's spirit, now free from the malevolent influence, stood before the townspeople, his eyes expressing gratitude and relief. As the first light of dawn broke, the townspeople witnessed a transformation in the graveyard. Flowers bloomed, and the atmosphere lifted as if a heavy burden had been lifted from the town's shoulders. The prophecy had been thwarted, and Hollowbrook was free from the looming darkness. Emily, exhausted but triumphant, realized that the bond between the horseman and the town was more intricate than she had ever imagined. The balance had been restored, and as she looked around at the grateful faces of the townspeople, she knew that Hollowbrook could face whatever challenges the future held. Years later, Emily revisited Hollowbrook, finding it thriving and vibrant. The town had embraced its haunted history, turning it into a source of strength rather than fear. A statue in the town square immortalized the moment when the townspeople, led by Emily, had united to protect their home. As Emily walked through the now familiar streets, she couldn't help but feel a sense of closure. The legend of the Headless Horseman had left an indelible mark on her, and though she had faced the darkness twice, she knew that some stories were meant to echo through time, forever carried in the whispers of the wind on a harvest moon night.